bookish friends, and welcome to my channel. So my name is Emily and this is my channel Books for Life, and I read all 5 books for the Book Junkie trials. So I just wanted to quickly hop on here and tell you how I did. I did finish the 5, and then I also took the books that I had for the reading rush and plugged them in for whatever challenges they fit. So I'm not going to talk about those though. I'll talk about that in a reading rush wrap up. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and tell you the 5 books that I read and what I thought. So the first place that I had to go since I was a scribe was Dwarf Mount, and for Dwarf Mount you need to read a book with a hint of romance. So I chose the On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, and I absolutely loved this. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was perfect. It was like an amazing summer read. I listened to it in one day. I was so into it that I stayed up until 1:30 in the morning trying to finish it in the beginning of the month because I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to know what happens. So this is about these 2 enemies who have to go away together. So the main character is a twin sister, and her twin sister got married. So at the wedding, everyone fell sick, except for the sister, the maid of honor, the main character, and the groom's brother, who is the best man. Now, they did not fall sick because they did not eat the buffet. They had a different meal. And so because they are twin sisters, she's able to take her place for the honeymoon. And so these 2 enemies go away for honeymoon together. Well, an un-honeymoon, I guess. And it's their story. It's cute. And what I liked is that this went beyond the honeymoon. There was character growth, and this wasn't just like a rom-com vacation story. It went beyond that, and that's what really intrigued me and pulled me in even more. I really loved the story. If you enjoy chick lit type of books, then definitely check that one out. So after Dwarf Mount, I went to the Apothecary Towers, and this was a book you had to choose at random. So I used this spinner wheel, and I selected shelf 1, 2, or 3, and then from how many books over. And the book that was randomly selected for me was Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell. And so the other thing that a scribe had to do was read a book that was longer than 500 pages. And this met it because it was 579. So that worked out well. So this is a space story, but it's Les Mis in space. So we have this world that humans have fled to because we destroyed our Earth. And there are actually a couple planets that humans had fled to. And so we're on one. And the main character, Shatine, well, there are 3 main characters. So one of the main characters, Shatine, is a street rat, and she's doing everything she can to survive. Her parents are these ruthless con artists, and they used to own an inn. So that's how we can connect back to Les Mis. And so they don't treat her well, and she has to resort to stealing in order to get by. And then you have Marcellus, who is another main character, and he is the son of a general. And he begins to kind of see that things aren't quite as copacetic as he thought they were, living in the nice part of the planet. And then you have the last main character, Alouette, and her father, she learns, is actually an escaped convict, and they're living in hiding. And so they're all 3 of these main characters, their worlds collide, and we really have just a lot of the themes that are presented in Les Mis addressed here as well. So you have this huge division between the rich and the poor. The rich are really rich, and they have the best of the best, and they even are stealing the nutrients from the poor. The poor can sell their blood, and the nutrients in the blood can be turned into face cream and things like that to keep the wealthy even younger looking. So you really have this division here, and you have writings, and then in addition to that, you have the sci-fi element. They're in space, there are droids, there is all this new technology. So I liked it a lot. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. It was a little bit slower, but I was never bored. I talk about this a lot in the vlog about my AP training, which I'm not sure if that's posted or not yet, but if you are interested in hearing more of my thoughts as I read it, definitely check out that vlog because I talk about it as I go through. But I really enjoyed this. I know it's part of a series and I will definitely be reading the next installment. So from the Apothecary Towers, I went to the Great Library, and so I was supposed to read a book on my TBR that has been sitting there for a while. So actually I picked Out of the Easy. This is a book that I've had for years and I have never read, and I have read her other books, Salt to the Sea and Between Shades of Grey, and I loved them both, so I knew that I wanted to read this one too. So this book is about this girl named Josie whose mother is a prostitute, and that's like the first line, which I thought this had a pretty powerful like beginning. I wouldn't use it in school just because it's not like quite appropriate, but like talking about powerful beginnings, I thought this was. It's like, my mother's a prostitute, not the filthy street walking kind. She's actually quite pretty, fairly well spoken, and has lovely clothes, but she sleeps with men for money or gifts, and according to the dictionary, that makes her a prostitute. It's like, okay, tell me more. So I loved the beginning of this. Actually, I really enjoyed the story. So Josie's mother is a prostitute, and she has always kind of like not lived in that shadow, but has had that as like a barrier. Like people don't quite accept her at school and things like that because they know that she is a prostitute. But she's had some wonderful people looking out for her. And her mother is not a good mother. She doesn't look out for Josie. Basically from the age of like 11 on, Josie ends up like leaving like her mom-ish and like living, she like starts sleeping under this desk at this bookshop, and then finally the owner of the bookshop like turns his office into her room and she ends up living there. So she has to like really find her own way in life, and she decides that she wants more than this world has to offer, and she wants to go to a private college in Massachusetts. By the way, this takes place in New Orleans in, I want to say it's like the 50s. I don't remember. It's like the 50s. I really did enjoy this one. I loved, you know, the world here. I loved reading about New Orleans. I really would love to travel there. I haven't been there yet, but I thought this was a great story, so I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. After the Great Library, I ventured to the Drowning Deep, and this one you're supposed to read a book with rich world building. So during that vlog, if you happen to watch it, I started listening to The Diviners by Libba Bray audiobook, and I had never read it before, and oh my god, it was amazing! I absolutely loved it. So since I'm a scribe, my ability was that I could switch books out. So I had originally planned on reading Blood of Elves from the Witcher series, but I did not have a chance to get to that book. So instead, I jumped right into the next book in the series from The Diviners. So I listened to Layer of Dreams by Libba Bray. Now, I loved this book too. I didn't like it as much as the first one. Like the first one I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I'm giving the second one 4 out of 5 stars. I felt like it was a little bit slower and it didn't have as much action to it, and the first one was so creepy. This one was creepy too, but it just didn't have that element of scary and creepiness, and you know, it didn't give me goosebumps the way that the first one did. So I think it did suffer a little bit from second book syndrome, but it was still an excellent read, and so that one counted for me for The Drowning Deep. And then finally that brought me to the Bookie Grail, and the Bookie Grail was to read the book group Stardust by Neil Gaiman. So I read this one. I didn't love it as much as other people. To be honest, I thought the beginning was really slow. Like the first 15-20 pages, I was like, oh, I don't want to read this. And it almost put me in a reading slump, but I powered through because I knew I wanted to get it done in time for the reading rush. So once I did get through it, and once I was really introduced to Tristan and started his journey, I got into this more. I ended up giving this 4 stars. It was very whimsical. It's a very like traditional, like fairy tale-esque fantasy story. I did like the characters. I loved the world. I'm actually currently watching the movie. It's taking me a while to get through it, but because it's a lot longer than I thought it would be. But I did really enjoy this. It was cute. It really was just an adventure with magic, and it's kind of tropey and it has some funny pieces to it, but I thought it was a cute book. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. So those are all of the books that I read for the Bookie trial. So go Team Scribe. I hope everyone who participated in this loved it. Thank you, Rachel Marie, for putting this together. It was so much work. I don't know how you managed to do all of this, but it was a lot of fun. I will definitely participate next year, and I really enjoyed it. So if you've read any of the books that I read, let me know what your thoughts were about them in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I will be back with more bookish videos soon. As always, keep reading.